Hello everyone, glad to be back. Still 14th of April, now it's 15 past 8 in the afternoon. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second update for today. There are quite a few significant developments and news that Russian media did write during the last few hours since the first update on my channel, and I will definitely share those news video in this update. But before I start, let me address one topic. You may find it interesting. Also, I don't know what happened. Friends, but this morning's update already has 3.4 thousand views in 8 hours and almost 800 likes. Yet again, I don't know what happened, but probably some of you, or maybe many of you, did share links to my update, and that's a result. So thank you very much, guys. And simultaneously, I will say that we have about 60-70 new subscribers today. So I welcome all of you guys, all of new subscribers to our small community. You're welcome. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and I will start with RBK News Agency's report that Russian Defense Ministry made statement today that Russian armed forces actively helping PMC Wagner units during the storming operation in Bakhmut. I did not open them up, unfortunately. I will do so right now. But just a few minutes ago, I did share on my Telegram channel information that according to some reports, PMC Wagner units did establish full control over the train station. I mean, this train station was disputed, as I understand. I don't know what's happening there. Why so many informations that are contradicting each other. But according to latest news, Russian side established control not over the railway station in this area, but also over the entire lane here, left side of railway. And forward units are now pushing deep inside this western corner of the Bakhmut area. Once again, as I said in this morning's update, because of huge concentration of forces in this small area, Ukrainian forces in this small pocket here, it will definitely take some time for PMC Wagner units to establish full control over this area. But I was wrong when I said in morning's update that we may see some less fighting on the front line during the next few days, because on 16th we will celebrate, Orthodox Christians will celebrate Easter, and my guess was that maybe next few days there will be some relevant peace on the front line, but it seems like that's not the case. At least not in the Bakhmut, and PMC Wagner units are conducting some offensive operations. I share just a minute ago. Oh, by the way, I also share latest update from Alex Christopher. You also can check that out video. And just look at it, man. In Lvov, Ukrainian neo-Nazis did try to burn down Catholic Church. I mean, they truly are, criminals and crazy elements. They are burning down. I did read information today that about 70 Orthodox churches were damaged or destroyed by Ukrainian neo-Nazis and in Ukraine. And now we have report from Lvov, which is western part of Ukraine, that Catholic Church also was attacked. Maybe those neo-Nazis were mistaken. Maybe they don't know difference between Catholic and Orthodox Christianity. I don't know what is wrong with them, but they truly are sick, man. That's for sure. Because this is a crime, man. No matter it's a Catholic Church, Orthodox Church, it's a synagogue or it's a mosque, you cannot attack religious institution. That's a crime, for God's sake. It's so simple, but yet again so difficult to understand for some of those Ukrainian criminals that are attacking religious institutions. So yes, and I also share. Just look at this, man. This is happening in Bakhmut. Look at this explosion, and this is happening right now, this afternoon. So PMC Wagner unit is on offensive, and it's hard to make predictions. But at least we have information that Russian Defense Ministry is actively supporting Wagnerites, and we may probably say now that so-called conflict, which may not even happen in reality, but there were some rumors that there was conflict between leadership of PMC Wagner and Russian Defense Ministry. Seems like this conflict was resolved, if there was any. Let's continue now. When it comes to overall situation on the front line, it's almost the same as it was yesterday. Artillery duels, mainly Bakhmut is a hot point as always, and the Donetsk direction. Let's continue. We have RIA Novosti's report here, according to which EU leaders, European leaders, are losing, and this news is based on an article in Bloomberg, so we should take it with a pinch of salt. Bloomberg recently become, quite a disappointment, because almost every second article is some kind of misinformation on Bloomberg, but because it's RIA Novosti, one of the main Russian news agencies are writing about it, I will share this news with you. So according to Bloomberg, some of the leaders in EU are now losing hope that Zelensky's regime will be able to achieve any success during the upcoming or announced counteroffensive. And of course, you know that whenever talks are about Ukrainian counteroffensive or counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime, mainly we are talking about this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia, because most military experts, as I understand, agree that that's most likely this is the direction that Zelensky's regime will try to attack, because that's what Washington and London desperately wants, to cut this land bridge and to have some good news from Ukraine. Even though, as you can see, if this report is correct, in continental Europe, some of the leaders there are losing hope that there will be any counteroffensive, or if counteroffensive will take place, it will achieve any huge success. Here we have information that according to Bloomberg, European leaders are thinking that counteroffensive will take place in direction of Mariupol, to is Melitopol, sorry. Melitopol is in middle of the land bridge here, almost in middle of the land bridge, but still European politicians and experts have expressing the doubts that Zelensky's regime will be able to take control over the Mariupol, and basically under the estimates, best what Zelensky's regime can achieve with this offensive is to advance about 20-30 kilometers and then use this bridgehead to control by long-range artillery all the roadways from Crimea to mainland Russia. For some reason, European politicians and experts are not saying how Zelensky's regime gonna hold on to land bridge, and how long they're gonna hold on to land bridge. But yet again, you know, we are seeing so much nonsense from Western elites lately that it's hard to even comment anymore. Seriously, what they are saying. This is TASS News Agency's report, according to which State Department once again stated that it's not time for F-16s and ATACMS long-range missiles to be deployed or delivered to Zelensky's regime. According to State Department, Kyiv is receiving all the necessary weaponry to conduct successful operations. Once again, we all know perfectly well that F-16s, if F-16s will be deployed to battlefield, or when F-16s or Western-made fighter jets will be deployed to battlefield, they will be flying by Western pilots. I'm 100% positive about that, and NATO pilots, and they will operate from NATO member states, from the airfields that are based on NATO member states, Poland, for example. And because we all know this, and because Moscow said officially on high level many times that deliveries of Western fighter jets will be received by Moscow as an open involvement of countries, NATO member states, in this conflict. So that's why I think when these Western-made fighter jets will be deployed to the front line by Poland, for example, or some other NATO member states, together with Poland, probably for that time Ukrainian military forces will be already collapsed. Zelensky will be gone from Ukraine, and at that stage we will probably see negotiations between Moscow and Warsaw, Moscow and NATO, and those F-16s or F-18s or whatever, or French fighter jets, or Swedish Gripen fighter jets, they will control only western parts, or western parts of the, maybe some of the central parts of the Ukraine. If there will be any negotiations behind the curtain between West and the Western elites and Russia, so that Ukraine will be divided between the sides. It's inevitable. Ukraine, as we know it, will cease to exist after this conflict will end. It's just too obvious at this stage. And it was obvious for me, at least, from very beginning. But now we are closing in to the point when all these predictions will be realized in practice, in real life. And it's not going to be easy. There may be some misunderstandings between the sides, and we may even see some direct clashes between local scale direct clashes between Russian soldiers and military personnel of NATO member states. But mainly, as I understand, what will happen is that sides will reach agreement that Russia is controlling entire southern and eastern parts of Ukraine, from Kharkiv to Odessa region, maybe also Chernigov region, Sumy region. I don't know what will be negotiated about Kyiv, and western states, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, maybe Western European states also will introduce their forces, including fighter jets, to the western parts and some central parts of Ukraine. And that's it, basically. Ukraine will cease to exist as a state, at least as we know it. But maybe for some political for political reasons, West will establish some new quasi-state under the name of Ukraine in the central part with the capital in Kiev, but landlocked, basically, quasi-state, but that would not be Ukraine as we know it, because Poland will take Western Poland and Hungary 100% will take Western parts of this country, and probably Romania and Slovakia will also. So, in that case, if Western elites will decide to create some new quasi-state under the name of Ukraine, territory-wise, it will have only Kiev and surrounding areas, and that will be it. Let's continue now. And by the way, we had some quite a strong statement once again from former Russian president and deputy chairman of Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev. This time he responded on the statements that Mateusz Morawiecki, Polish prime minister, made during his visit in USA. And of course, Morawiecki, Polish prime minister, was quite aggressive towards Russia and very hawkish. And Medvedev did respond that it's hard to tell, that's Medvedev's words, my interpretation of his words. It's hard to tell how will end the war between NATO and Russia if anything like that will happen, but it's 100% certain that nothing will be left from Poland, because Poland is a spearhead of NATO, geographically speaking. And it's hard to argue with this, isn't it? If any conflict between Russia and the NATO, full-scale conflict will take place, it will be end for the world as we know it, of course, but these countries that are spearheading aggressive West, aggressive collective West, those countries will take most of the hit, of course. That's just a simple fact. So it's hard to argue with this. Let's hope yet again Putin is trolling, not Putin, but Medvedev is trolling. In this case, Prime Minister of Poland. But in every joke there is some part of joke. Rest of it is true. That's a saying that we have in Russia. So yes, he may trolling Polish elites, but at the same time he probably truly thinks that if it comes to real war, full-scale war between NATO and Russia, nothing will be left from many countries in this world. Me personally, I'm not sure that this world will survive. That's such a devastating development. Let's continue now. And that's interesting. News. We have statement from Dmitry Peskov, spokesperson of Russian President Vladimir Putin, and we have a first time that official representative of the Kremlin is openly doubting these secret documents, entire story with secret documents that was leaked in US. And Peskov was asked about those documents, and he said that Russian special services are working with this information. It's their job to analyze what is true and what is not in those documents, but same time Russian side is doubting realness of doubting information, accuracy of the information that are presented in those documents. Once again, it was too obvious for me that something is wrong with this story, and I was skeptical from very beginning, and nowadays, I mean, more and more countries are rising voice, including Russia, by the way, that are saying that, you know what, maybe documents themselves, I mean, this paperwork with stamps and all of it, are real, but information that are inside is, I mean, rising questions. And yes, it's all true because it was a deception operation from by CIA and Pentagon and Washington from very first day. It was a deception operation. I'm 100% sure about it, and I believe that's what Russian side officially are. Russian officials are thinking. Otherwise, Peskov will not say anything like that, isn't it? But because he said that Russian side is still skeptical about information in these documents, but still will, Russian special services will work with those informations. I mean, that means that, yeah, the Russian side thinks that something is wrong with that story. For me, it was, I mean, too obvious from the very beginning, man. It was too good to be true. That's the case. When something is too good to be true, usually it's not. Timing and all the information, and some information was presented like twice or three times in different papers, and all the time some different numbers. And I mean, let's continue now. And we have a statement from Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary. Lately, some diplomatic scandal or conflict is going on openly between Ukraine and Hungary. Today, I read statement from Ukraine's foreign minister, and he was making some strong anti-Hungarian statements. And Orban did respond on criticism from Ukraine, and he said that financially, such a state as Ukraine just did not exist. And to be honest, I will say politically also, but or economically, or in any way, there is no such a country without US financial aid. Ukraine will collapse in weeks' time. So, if that's the case, then what we are talking about? What state? There is no such a state as Ukraine, not financially, not any other way. And once US will distance itself from Ukraine, we will see that this country will be divided between the neighboring states that exist in real life. So let's continue now. This is very interesting news also. RIA Novosti is reporting that from 16th to 19th of April, Defense Minister of China will visit Moscow on the invitation of Russian colleague, Russian Defense Minister. We don't have some specifics what purpose it will serve, this visit, but when I see this information, I remember straight away my predictions that I was making during the Xi Jinping's visit. As you remember, I did say that after this visit of Xi Jinping in Moscow, in few weeks' time, we may see some statements from high-ranking officials in China and Russia, and we may see beginning of deliveries of Chinese weapons in Russia. Unfortunately, it did not happen. China still not delivering to Russia any military equipment, but maybe something will change after this visit of Chinese defense minister. I don't know. Maybe something will change after Chinese defense minister will visit Moscow. Otherwise, I mean, this time scale, I mean, why Chinese military leadership is visiting Russia right now, when Russia is busy with this special military operation? What they're gonna discuss now? So let's see. Maybe after all, my prediction will become will be realized, or will become correct if China will start to deliver some weapons after this visit will end. Let's see. Let's see. Same time today. This is RIA Novosti's report also that Russian Pacific Fleet was in highest alert today, and the Russian Defense Ministry did made some check revision of readiness of Pacific fleets. Some warships did went to open sea, and there were some trainings conducted, and the rest of it. So I don't know what is happening. I don't know why, but all the Russian media outlets did write about these exercises in Pacific Fleet. Maybe just to remind the Japanese leadership that we still there. Maybe. So this is RIA Novosti's report, according to which a few more news about some economical stuff, interesting news, and this is it for this second update. So we have statement from economical expert Nouriel Rubini. He is a professor of New York's Economical University, and he did predicted crisis of 2008, financial crisis in 2008. That was a huge deal. Of course, you all remember that. And now this very same professor is saying that US is approaching another crisis, and this crisis may be much more bigger than 2008 crisis, and this time crisis will touch not just banking sector but also mortgage sector, also commercial property sector. So some huge crisis may take place in US, especially because of banking crisis. According to this professor, after failing of Silicon Valley Bank, it caused some chain reaction, and right now banking system is too fragile, and banking system may be unable to support economy in volumes that needed, and this will on its own cause some chain reaction in economy and in real economy, and eventually we may see some crashes once again in mortgage sector and in many other sectors. I don't know what will happen. I mean, I'm not a financial expert, but I hope I can only hope that US economy will withstand this crisis, because after all, who's paying, man? Who did pay for 2008 crisis? Mostly just ordinary people, isn't it? Ordinary US citizens, man. Not these corporations and bankers, man. They pay nothing. They get even richer, but ordinary people, they did lose houses, and households were destroyed, and just terrible stuff. So I hope this professor is wrong, man. It's too much problem for ordinary humans anyway, everywhere. We don't need additional destruction, that's for sure. And everyone should remember that if any problems are emerging in US economy, it will automatically hit entire world. So it's in everyone's interest that these big huge economies in the world are stable, so that world economy will stay stable. Let's continue now, and you're gonna be surprised by this information, like I was, because according to RIA Novosti, Russia exporting more oil now that it was exporting in 2020, before all these special military operations and sanctions, man. I don't know how this is oil and oil products, not just crude oil, but also oil products. So I don't know how this is possible, how this is happening, but that's what experts are saying. That's numbers. Yeah, and yes, Russian side did manage somehow to export more crude oil and more oil products, diesel and rest of the marks of fuel than in 2020. So, for example, Russian oil export in March did reach highest point since the April of 2020, and overall it rise 0.6 on 0.6 million barrels a day, but overall it did reach 8.1 million barrels a day export, 8.1 million barrels a day, and this is just a crude oil. When you take in account some oil products also, benzene, diesel, and the rest of it, it's quite a huge number, and that's why I was surprised, when I see it, because I mean, how, for God's sake? But Western elite's gonna be mad, man, when they will see in some reports this kind of news, man. They're gonna get mad as hell. And this is gonna be last news for today, which is also unbelievable, to be honest. Head of Russian Ministry of Economical Development, Maxim Reshetnikov, did make statement today, according to which inflation in Russia in 2023 will be 5.3%. I mean, 5.3%. This is and this is RIA Novosti, by the way. This is serious news agency. And Maxim Reshetnikov is head of Ministry of Economical Development. So this is the right numbers, probably. There is no mistake there. So I don't know how, but if this is true, if Russian economical bloc will manage to keep inflation around 5%, 5, 6, even 7% a year, it will be a great result, man. What can I say? I find it hard to believe in this number. I'm gonna be honest. I find it very hard to believe in this number, man. I'm very skeptical. But let's see, what kind of inflation we will have in towards end of this year. But if they will manage to keep inflation about 5-7%, it will be just wonderful, really. It will be wonderful. If we take in account all this pressure that Russian economy under because of the Western sanctions. So yes, let's see how it goes. This is it for now. I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please hit that like button. Leave some commentary about any topic you like. More likes and comments my videos will have, more chances are that algorithm did not suppress videos too much, even though I'm gladly surprised that morning's update, first update for today, for some strange reasons was not suppressed. Just check numbers, man, on my updates yesterday or day before and the morning's update. I mean, quite a difference in numbers. But anyway, yes, if you can, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like. Share links to my videos on my channel with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. And if you think this channel deserves to exist, Please consider to support with small donation through PayPal or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. This is it for now. Have a nice day and take care. See you soon.